PA likes to sit in there and think of that tune and tell her, crank it up a little. Next tune is called Hiroshima. Pray for this. very much. Do one more here before we do a little bit of rapping. If I can see everybody out there. It's called Bust a Soda. Not a bad idea. John wasn't thinking about these lights. Is there any way that I could get a little light to where I could see everybody? Since
Why don't you go ahead and turn the house, some of them on.
we won't shot too many eyeballs out there.
Over here? Yeah, go ahead and turn it on.
There's something in the back or something just so I can. Yeah, oh man. Let's not blow anybody's room there. It's tough when you're doing a question and answer thing when you can't see anybody. It could cause some problems. Oh, cool. Okay. Wow, there actually is people out there. I thought I heard somebody. Well, anyway, so now I've got a little bit of playing under my belt, trying to play the right notes. Sometimes successful, sometimes not there. But if there's any questions at this point about the guitars I'm playing, obviously some pretty darn cool Lightning stuff, or about the band I'm with, Danger, or about guitar playing in general, or about how come I can't afford sleeves, whatever the question might be. Because if you don't ask questions, I'm going to be forced to play some more guitar, and you know how painful that can be. So, does anybody want to start things off with any type of general questioning stuff?
Come on.
Well, if not, yeah.
Where's your tone control and how do you get your warbling from?
Okay, where's my tone control? Well, this particular guitar doesn't have a tone control. When this guitar was built for me, it was pretty much I was on the road with Danger, and for what I was doing with that band at the time, a tone control wasn't really necessary. So I said, build a guitar with one knob, volume, and I'll do any tone variation I need to with my pickup selector, you know. And so the way I've got the pickups wired, it's two humbuckers, but I have it wired in a way to where I can have a single coil tap. The two humbuckers on, and then the neck pickup tapped. Full humbucker. So at the time I wasn't thinking, well, I really don't need a tone knob. But now I've been into a lot more jazzy playing, so I'm thinking, now I really need a tone knob. So now I got to go back and get another guitar basically at some point. And then the warble effect that you're asking about, he's asking how I got the warble effect. That's just the tried and true, you know, high tension whammy bar. Depends on how your tremolo's set up, but this one's got it's got a note of its own. It's in D, so many tunes in D I can just go. Steve Vai patent that, I'm not sure. So, that's the totally obnoxious warble effect. Fix the question. Yeah.
What kind of pickups are you using?
He's asking what kind of pickups I'm using, and they're purple. That's basically it. No, they're DiMarzio. DiMarzio, this is a Tone Zone and PAF Pro, I think they call it. But certainly the purple ones sound just a little cooler. I you know, personal preference. I don't know. Some people like the yellow ones, but the purple seem to work pretty well. I've used a lot of different stuff over the years, and everything has its own tone, and it's pretty cool. I used EMGs for a while, and Seymour Duncan stuff for a long time. But for right now, the DiMarzio stuff's really working great for me.
You play a lot with Red Beach, right?
Yeah.
I met him in Hawaii too, and I saw a middleweight feud with him.
Yeah. He's asking about, I'm repeating these questions because I'm assuming maybe everybody can hear. He's asking about my relationship with Red Beach. We've been doing a lot of playing together recently. He actually, he guests on the new Danger album, which we did about 2 months ago, but it's not coming out now until January. But on the first cut of the album, there's a spot where he and I are trading solos. But he and I just met through a mutual friend about 3 years ago. And finally got together to jam one day and hit it off great, you know. So we kept promising, well, one of these days we're going to record together, you know. We keep promising to play on each other's solo albums. So he happened to be living down in Florida when we did the recording for the new album. So we got him down there one day and it worked out great. He really played some really cool stuff. So he's certainly planning on doing a solo album sometime, hopefully soon as well. He and I have talked about actually going out and touring together. So who knows, maybe early next year if he's not out with Winger, you know. But those guys are out touring right now, I think. Reb's just an amazing guitar player. He's one of those few guys that can pick up a guitar and just play a couple notes, and boy, you know it's Red Beach. You go, that's the guy on those records, you know. Picks it up and just sounds unbelievable. And plus, he's a pretty cool guy. It does great voice impersonations. So next time you see him, say, do a voice for me. He's got a million of them. Yeah, there was a question back there.
Yeah, how was it jamming with Gerald Beasley at Simon Door?
Probably, wow. Yeah, I don't think I've like woken up since then. He's talking about the big NAMM jam that took place last January at the NAMM show, and was fortunate enough to be asked to be a part of the kind of the house rhythm section for the evening. It was Simon Phillips, who is certainly my favorite drummer in the world these days. You know, Joe Beasley on bass, who plays with Joe Zawinul's band, Weather Update, I think it's called. And the keyboard player, Mark, was pretty unbelievable. But what a rhythm section. You know, Simon was just so great. We did a lot of Simon solo material. If you haven't heard Simon Phillips' solo record called Protocol.
Any of that stuff yours? Any material?
Yeah, the stuff that we did that night?
Yeah.
No, that was the stuff that we did apart from when people were coming out and playing was all Simon's original stuff. We originally set out to do some of Gerald's material, some of mine, some of Simon's. But we had such limited rehearsal time, and Simon had sent out tapes and charts to all the stuff. Because this stuff's pretty complex, you know, it took a little bit of study time on my part. And I still had charts on stage going, oh man, you know. But really, Simon, apart from being obviously a great player, was just really, really organized and amazingly easy to work with. He just really made you feel really at home, and it felt like, you know, just do your thing and it's going to be cool. But he was really a dream to play with. But it wasn't until, I mean, of course I had utmost respect for him at that point, but then I saw him last month with Toto, you know, stepping in for Jeff, who passed away. But Carol's like one of my all-time favorite drummers. I thought, you know, I love Simon, but this is going to be, you know, how's this going to sound? And he just sounded unbelievably amazing. So that was that night that I thought, this guy's my favorite drummer. And the band, you could tell, really, you know, taking him in as family at that point. And that'd be a hard gig to step into. You know? So it was really neat, no doubt about it. And then playing with all the guitar players that night. Sean played that night, as well as Alex Skolnick and Rab played. And who else? Paul Gilbert did some amazing stuff, and Satriani and Vi. So just getting a chance to be included, be invited to the party would have been fun for me, you know.
Good show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So you were there, you saw the unbelievable stuff. Yeah, man.
Do you feel freer like playing like solo material, or do you like playing Danger? Like, how does it feel as far as?
Okay. He's asking about how it is playing with Danger, which is pretty much a mainstream rock and roll band, as compared to playing my own stuff. And certainly, when I'm writing my own material and it's just going to be me and a bass player and a drummer, there's certainly a lot more freedom. I'm not worried about, you know, playing the right solo or the right thing for commercial radio. I love doing that. I mean, I'm really fortunate to have been a part and continue to be a part of a band that's in that field, you know, because we've gotten to tour with some great bands and experienced that part of the business. As frustrating as it is, you know, trying to get a song on the radio and trying to get a song on MTV and everything can be really, really, you know, stuff to pull your hair out for. But at the same token, it's fun to be able to, you know, record with that type of a group and really, you know, hold back on your playing, trying to fit something for the song instead of just trying to, you know, show people that you can play guitar real fast or a hip lick or something, you know. So I'm really, really proud of what we did on the new record. I think it's a pretty good record. Last one I wasn't so thrilled with. The new one, I'm hoping gets a shot. But at the same time, you know, I'll certainly be getting my own thing out there, which is a little bit more over-the-top guitar, you know. Because I get that a lot. You know, we'd be on the road and people go, well, what are you doing in that band? You know, you should be doing your own thing. But I'm into so many different things. You know, I'd like to do a jazz record. I'd like to do a blues record at some point. I just love all styles of music and love trying to, you know, emulate all those styles and come up with some stuff that sounds good. You know, that's what's fun about hanging out at schools like this. You know, you get so many influences from so many great players. You know, I went to school down at the University of Miami, down in Florida. They've got an unbelievable jazz department down there. So I was constantly surrounded by all these great players. It really made a big difference on, you know, my later writing and playing and everything. So it was a lot of fun. I'm not sure what your original question was at this point. I'm kind of rambling. But thanks for the question anyway. Yeah. So any more?
How much improvisation is part of your playing?
I'd say when I'm doing this kind of thing, it's probably about 50-50. You know, judging by how many notes I missed on the last couple of tracks. Certainly the melodies are pretty much structured each time, but I'll embellish on them a little bit, you know, each time just to, you know, you're always trying to challenge yourself and make things a little interesting. And the solo sections, I might have a lick or two here and there that I like to stick to, but then I'll kind of take off from there. But it's an interesting thing. It's different when you're playing with a band situation with maybe a record that's been on the radio, and people might be used to a certain part of the song that's a signature solo or something. And in that case, I'm more likely to stick to that, even though my band still bitches at me because I kind of take off on that stuff a lot too. So. But that's half the fun playing guitar for me, is just trying to create something new on the spot each time, you know. And messing around. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you mess up a little bit, but that's part of the fun, you know. No doubt about it. So, yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about the players that have influenced you in the different styles?
Okay, let's talk about players that might have influenced me in the different styles. Somebody was making a joke about Ace Frehley earlier, but that was the first guy, you know. He never got much respect as a player at the time, but he really had a neat amalgamation of all the just classic stock blues licks. And for a kid, you know, growing up that hadn't had any lessons, and it's my harmonica impression. Thank you very much.
All right.
He was really a great guy to start listening to because it was pretty straightforward stuff, you know. But he had a strong rhythmic sense, so I think that really helped at that point in my playing. So it was pretty much Ted Nugent and Ace Frehley, you know. Ted Nugent, great for learning stuff in A because it's about the only key the guy wrote it. He went up to B every now and then. I'm not sure if he had a capo on that. Now Ted was great because he had just a great fire and energy about his playing, you know, and really locked into the groove. But later on, certainly it was probably my biggest influence would be Steve Lukather. You know, I really like the vibe that he has when he plays. You know, he's got a bit of a jazz influence from listening to Carlton and people like that. You know, so he'll be playing, you know, when I heard him start to put in some of those kind of lines, boy, it's really, you know, perked my ears up a little bit. That's what I want to do, you know, I learn how to incorporate that kind of playing into the rock and roll thing. So after that, it was probably Mike Stern who really, you know, turned me on after that point. I saw him on Saturday Night Live when he was playing with Miles Davis back in about like 1981 or something, you know. I'm like, yeah, what's this guy gonna do? I didn't even know who Miles Davis was, you know. Embarrassing enough, you know, when they said Miles Davis on Saturday Night Live, I thought, was that the guy with the big cheeks and the weird horn, you know? Yes, it's true, but yeah, that night I was just like, you know, they were playing that tune Jean-Pierre. Simple, shuffly A groove. So, but when Mike started playing, you know, he just. He was playing all these, he had like a rock and roll tone, but he was playing all these, you know, chromatic and diminished and bebop ideas. And from there, that's really when I, you know, tried studying that for a while. And not quite there, but I'm still working on it, you know. But certainly he was a major influence. And then other general people I would say would be people like Eric Johnson, Pat Metheny in a major way, Larry Carlton, you know. Well, if I thought I could do like anything like Sean does, I'd start working on his stuff. Yeah, he's unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to the next few days. We get to travel around and do some clinics together. So hopefully I'll get one heck of a lesson, you know. But anyway, enough about that. Yeah, I want to just do, how much time do we have? Where's John? He's going to keep the stopwatch on me. He ran away. So I want to eat up the time here. So I'll do some more playing. Is there any more questions before bring Sean? Yeah, man.
What's that piece of tape in your front pickup?
The all-important piece of tape he's asking about here. That's how I get my sound, man. No, actually, what happens is, it's usually not a problem in a clinic situation where I have a very controlled volume. But when I'm playing with a band and sometimes the volume's not right, I'm having to overcompensate. really digging into the strings. The string will get caught under the lip of the pickup, and so you'll be running along, kind of stuck under the pickup there. So that, yeah, just put a little bit of tape. I've talked to the DiMarzio people. They said they're going to try to design something for me that'll keep the string from, getting stuck under there like that. But that used to get real frustrating, and my tech went, "Hey, we'll put a piece of tape over here." Unbelievable. So. But actually, it works okay. And of course, everybody's always asking, "Oh, what's that tape for?" But, no amazing special secrets. But, okay, yeah.
One more question. Just some tips on right-hand muting and ways to keep things clean.
Yeah, that's a great question and a tough one to answer. He's asking about right-hand technique and how to keep things clean and accurate and that type of thing. As far as working, a lot of the things that I do have come pretty naturally over the years. And playing with high gain like I do, it does become pretty important to be real conscious of string muting. I tend to rest my hand towards the bridge, which can be a problem if you have a floating tremolo system, because sometimes it can cause, if you're laying hard on that bridge, it can cause some major problems. But it's just pretty much rule of thumb, like any string you're not playing, either the right hand or the left hand should be doing something to deaden all the other strings. I'm gonna play that. Just playing that one note, immediately my two fingers here grasp on the B and the E string. The butt of my thumb there is resting on the E and the A and the D. I'm actually using part fingertips and part palm here to just let nothing ring out. Nothing to ring out except the G string, This trick's the first time I saw Ted Nugent, like in 1978 or 9. I used to play this huge Birdland Gibson, electric acoustic guitar with these walls of Fender amps, Of course, it's like amazing feedback, but he knew exactly, where he had to be on the stage to get the right feedback, and he was always muting the other strings. So right there, I'm also playing on the G string. I'm using my right hand to these top strings, and then the inside part of your fingers hang over on the other strings so they're not sounding. That's just kind of a basic general rule. Whatever string you're not playing, something somewhere should be, kind of getting in there, muting it up a little bit. Right there, I'm just kind of rambling, playing so I can kind of analyze what I do, And right there, my thumb comes over. Sometimes I'll even reach my hand up on the fingerboard. That's a good question, and certainly the more gain and louder volumes, the harder it is to get all the extraneous noise out of there. Or having just a really good technique helps too. I don't know. I'm not quite there yet, but there's some players that get away with some great stuff because they have great muting techniques. Yeah.
I noticed you have the 88 microcap in your rack. What purpose does that serve?
It's not. This isn't my gear actually, so I'm not sure. My buddy, Steve, is that him?
Nice.
Nine, right? Okay, that's his rack, so I'm not sure what it's doing. Am I actually running through that? I didn't think so. That's like a direct unit to use in the studio. Yeah, microcap is like a special box. No, I just brought my 88 preamp and a lot of delay. And then at the mercy of whatever power amp and cabinet situation I run into from day to day. But it works out pretty good. But I wish I knew more about the microcap. How does that sound in the studio?
Okay.
Sounds okay? I use the Zoom a lot when I'm doing just demo tracks or stuff and, in the studio, yeah.
So what other amps and stuff do you like to work out personally that you like to work
Okay, on the new record I used the PV5150 for like kind of a slightly dirty, real punchy rhythm sound, and then I would overdub an ADA track on top of that for just to blend them together for a really good punchy crunch track. And for solos I use a Mesa Boogie rectifier head. It sounded really amazing. Really good sounding head. Wish I could lug one around with me, but couldn't bring everything. Yeah, man.
Who produced the latest Danger record?
The band, he's asking who produced the new Danger record. We co-produced with an engineer by the name of Paul Northfield, who he works a lot with Peter Collins, who did all the Queensryche stuff. This guy recorded a lot of the Rush records. We'd be hanging out with him, like driving to dinner every day, in the sessions, and like, Tom Sawyer or something would come on, and we go, oh, how we got that sound, and it was actually a bad cable, we couldn't get it back. It was like the crowd noise in is it Spirit of the Rain? Or something like, when he talks about, he says salesman or something, you hear this big crowd. It's like some weird out of phase crowd effect that they did by accident. Luckily they recorded the first take because they tried to get it back and they could never get it to happen because it was some messed up cable, It's like, isn't that great? Yeah. So he had a million little stories. It's so cool to hang out with somebody like that. I'm sure, and Sean's new record just got redone by Andy John, so I'm sure Sean will have some amazing Andy John stories. Actually, Paul Northfield had a run-in with Andy Johns. Actually, he had the story to tell about him where Paul was mixing the last Alice Cooper record. And Andy Johns kind of stumbles into. He's known to be kind of the Arthur of the rock and roll producer-engineer field. So he stumbles in and says, "Oh, that sounds great, Well, I know rock and roll. I could. This is very professional." So there's some great Andy John stories. I'm sure Sean's got even more of them. So if there's no other questions, I'll play a couple more tunes and we'll bring Sean up because I'm looking forward to hearing him play, as I'm sure you are. Do two more things. I need to figure out what tracks there. I believe 9 and 10 on the DAT there. Man, impression going on. Maybe you can start at the beginning of that one. I had the American Bandstand ending for that one. Those rambling tracks that we didn't have an ending for, so I kind of go, okay, fade it out, we'll see what happens. All right, I want to do one more for you. It's a little bit of a tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it's called I Remember Stevie. Let's see, I forward it to the next one.